Hi, I'm Dr. Pappas, and I want to talk to you about something amazing. This something is what allows each person to stay healthy, to breathe, to live, and to function. Before we talk about this amazing thing, I think we need a little anatomy lesson. First of all, the central nervous system starts with the brain and turns into the spinal cord. It is protected by the skull and the vertebrae. It develops first. As a young developing unborn child, the brain is one of the first tissues that starts to develop, and it has to, because it's what tells the rest of the body what it needs to become. You have impulses of information that travel down the brain, through the spinal cord, to every single cell of the body. So you see why it's so important that it's protected by the skull and the vertebrae. So the vertebrae, 24 of them, stack on top of each other. They protect the spinal cord while allowing for movement. As each of the vertebrae stack on top, they create a space for the nerves to exit out. Those nerves go to all the body parts. Sometimes you can have some interference as those nerves exit out the spine, and that's what we call as chiropractors a subluxation. When that occurs, you can block that important vital information between the brain and the body. The central nervous system is comprised of two types of nerves. Your motor nerves, sometimes referred to as spinal nerves, and autonomic nerves. Now, the motor nerve's main job is for movement and sensation. It's what connects your brain to your muscles and also to your tendons and ligaments. It's what allows you to know where your muscles are in space, allow for contraction, and tell your body if something has irritated it. So what happens and how do you know when you irritate a spinal nerve? Pain. Pain, or sometimes actually a lack of sensation. So a person who's irritated or put pressure upon their spinal nerve can have numbness, they can have tingling, they could also have sharp shooting pain or even weakness in their muscles. Everyone here has known somebody who's experienced carpal tunnel or sciatic nerve pain. In those instances, they have pain that shoots down their limbs. It can cause weakness in muscles. It can even cause numbness and tingling. And those are your spinal nerves. The other type of nerve that you have in your body is called your autonomic nerve. Just like the term autonomic, it automatically controls the function of all your organs, not sensation. So this is important because this is where a problem could exist in the back, causing pressure to a nerve and not have pain. If it's not affecting the spinal nerves and only affects the autonomic nerves, you could actually just have loss of function. So this is where people would go to the chiropractor to get benefits from digestive problems, asthma problems, ear infections, sinus problems, headaches. The list goes on of what potentially could occur functionally when there's pressure upon the autonomic nerves. So this would be one reason to have your children checked, because you don't have to have pain in order to have functional loss from a back problem. Now, we talked about subluxation. Subluxation is that interference to that nerve. So just after 14 days of pressure on that nerve, the cell that nerve is supposed to go to will start to decay and die. These are the silent killers of the body. If pain's not involved, it's loss of function. After 10 to 15 years of permanent subluxation, a person will have enough loss to cause symptoms. And by then, the disability or the damage can be irreversible. The body can function at 50% capacity when it comes to specific organs. That means the liver or the kidney can actually only be working 50% without any major symptoms. Think of it this way, 100% functioning is like having full bars on your cell phone. You're talking, it's clear, the communication is going through, it is functioning at 100%. Sometimes though, you can actually get a signal with just one bar. You could be talking to that person perfectly. That's kind of like health. Some people walk around with full functioning bars. They know they're healthy and the body knows they're healthy. Some people actually think they're healthy because they're walking around without symptoms, but only at half capacity. The message is getting through, but not as good as it can be. These people are setting themselves up for failure. They're the types that may be having a disease process without them even knowing it, a potential heart attack down the road. The immune system is compromised and they can end up with some type of disease. Depending on what level of your spine the subluxation is will determine possible symptoms that you can have. Symptoms ranging from headaches, sinus problems, fatigue, ear, nose, throat problems, cardiovascular problems, digestive problems, irritable bowel syndrome, restless leg syndrome, carpal tunnel, and the list goes on and on. Do you have a subluxation? How do you know? It takes an examination from a chiropractor to find out. Subluxations occur from many different things. It could be the birth process, it could be playing on a playground, it could be an automobile accident, it could be a horse riding accident. I've heard it all. So as chiropractors, it's our job to examine, locate, and correct these subluxations, therefore restoring normal flow to the proper nerve function. So how long does it take to correct a spinal problem? That depends on how long it's been there. Tissue has memory. If it's been there for years, the muscles and the ligaments now recognize a specific position. So it's our job as chiropractors to battle the body in order that it can be corrected. Certain things help that. One will be exercises and stretches, but time is the major player. If it's been there a while, it's going to take a while to correct it. Let's use an example of smoking. If a person who smoked for years wants an opportunity to repair their lungs of all that damage, they need to remove that stress consistently for years, giving their body a chance to heal itself. Once a subluxation is there, unless it's corrected, it will continue to wreak havoc down the road. Without you even knowing about it, years from now, you could have some permanent disabilities from a small problem that wasn't corrected. One of the things we need to talk about and clear up is what exactly is health. There's a bit of confusion when it comes to certain answers. There's health without symptoms. This is when your body is functioning 100%. You are totally healthy and no symptoms. Your body's doing everything it's supposed to do, exactly what it's supposed to be doing it. Then there's healthy with symptoms. This would be if you were to go and eat some tainted food, and your immune system would eject that food or want to get rid of it. That would be a healthy response. But you would also have some symptoms at that time. Also, a child who maybe gets a fever from having a teething episode. That would be a healthy immune system response. Sometimes, though, we can be sick with symptoms. A sick with symptoms is obvious. It's with a person who's dealing with a disease and they're having the symptoms that go with that. Sometimes, though, we could be sick without symptoms. And this is where some people confuse themselves as being healthy. They may have undetected cancer or be 2 days away from a stroke or a heart attack because of heart disease that has not been detected, or even diabetes. These people are walking around without symptoms, so they confuse that with health. So the goal in any individual's life is to be healthy without symptoms, and that's achieved by removing stress. Removing the physical stress that we talked about, removing nutritional stress. That means eating what you're supposed to and not eating what you're not supposed to. And also removing emotional stresses. All these things add stress to our life, and if they're not in our life, then we have an opportunity to be healthier. So it's with all that information that we get the most important idea. This is that the body can heal itself if given the chance. The nervous system is the master control of the body. It allows information to travel from the brain to the body, back and forth. This is so important that it must be protected by the spine. When these delicate nerves can be interfered with, chiropractors can step in, remove that interference, and allow your body to heal itself again.
To me, it just seemed more natural that if you kept the body in good condition and no pressure on the nervous system, that the body was going to function as it was made to do.
So I came here to the office and saw Dr. Pappas, and whenever I left, I felt 60% better that day. Before that, I wasn't a believer at all, but it made a big difference. I actually worked the next day.
The reason I choose chiropractic care is I've had a big history with cancer. I've had lots of medications pumped into my body, and over time I realized, I prefer the natural way.
Piper was having ear infections, and we came in and she started getting treated, and she had several ear infections before and has not had an ear infection since she's been treated.
I had a lower back injury from weightlifting, and I started coming to Dr. Pappas and getting chiropractic care, and I've had relief from that back pain ever since.
In many cases, people think about going to the chiropractor as the last resort after they've tried everything else, when in essence, that's where they should go first after they've ruled out any medical conditions. But give chiropractic a try first.
I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. The information here is very important and could potentially help you or someone you know. If you're interested at all or know someone who would like to come in for an evaluation, please contact our office and I will personally speak with you.